morning, everybody, and welcome to the launch of I Keep Learning, a memoir by Unathi. Woo! Yes, please, can we get a big round of applause? I think first of all, I want to say welcome everyone to family, friends, colleagues, fans, friends across the board, people who love Unathi and are here to support you. Are here to support you. I think for me, the first question, and at least the question that I get asked most often, and it's almost conspiratorially, people will lean in and say to me, so what is Unathi really like? And I'm not quite sure what they're expecting me to say, because, you know, to me, she's a sister, a friend, and even over and above all of that, it's like, I ain't telling you, I don't know you, I'm not gonna tell you, because I feel like people very often judge her from the outside and don't understand that beneath that hard exterior is someone who is as soft as a marshmallow. She really is. She really, really is. And I'll give you an example of that just really quickly. So many, many, many years ago, no, this one is many. No, really, this one is many. After I'd stopped doing a show on television that I did called Studio Mix, it was taken over, the slot rather, was taken over on the SABC by the show Unathi did, which was Castle Loud. And I'm minding my business, I've kind of moved off from television, moved on, and I get this call, and this voice, young girl, woman, says to me, hi, is this Melanie? I'm like, yes, it is. Hi, Melanie, you don't know me, this is Unathi. I'm like, uh-huh. She's like, I do Castle Loud, we're the show that has basically taken over the Friday night slot. And I'm like, okay. And she says, we'd love it if you could come through to Castle Loud, because we'd love to honor you. And I was like, honor me, why? She said, because you've set such a high standard and you've set such a high bar for us, for everyone who follows in your footsteps. And as a young woman in broadcasting, it's something that I'd like to do. And so I duly went through and we did a little bit on television and she gave me a book by Maya Angelou. I'll never forget that. And like I said, I'd never met her before. Never met her before, hadn't interacted with her before. And this is what she did for me. And I think that speaks volumes about just you and your character. And I'm really touched that she asked me to host this evening because she said to me, I don't trust anyone else with this. And that's a huge honor because she's very private. She really is a very, very private person and she's discerning about who she lets into her private space. So thank you for that. But enough about me. I think let's get it started. And what we're going to do this evening is we're going to keep it flowing, we're going to keep it friendly, we're going to keep it light, we're going to laugh a lot, I can tell you now. But we're going to start off with the founder of Sifiso Publishers, who is the publishing house for the book. And I'd like to welcome on stage Dr. Judy Dlamini.
Thanks, Melanie. Molweni. Good evening. It's such an honor to be here. The African Queen has made us so proud with the birthing of I Keep Learning. It's an honor to meet your parents, your children, your family, your colleagues, and everyone who's here. I just want to say a few words as a co-founder of Sifiso Publishers. My husband has more flu than I have, so that's why he's not here. He wanted so much to be here, so I had to be representing both of us. Sifiso Publishers is a young 3-year-old baby. My husband and I are on a mission to change the narrative of the African person, the narrative of an African child. And Unathi, to us, represents that. Congratulations on an amazing job. You are such a beautiful storyteller. It's such an authentic representation of your journey. And I actually think you need a copy for yourself, but also a Christmas present copy for someone that you love. And it really is an honor to be here. I want to thank, I have a lot of daughters and a lot of sons. I saw one of my daughters who actually linked us up. Yes. Anele, where are you? Yes. That's one of my daughters. That's another one. That's another one. So I'm blessed. Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to tonight.
Call up onto stage someone who's known Unathi for a very long time and has been instrumental in her journey as a broadcaster in Johannesburg. He's known as the musical maestro. He's the MD of YFM. Please welcome on stage Greg Maloka.
Thank you. Thank you so much for this great honor. I got this call about 2.5 weeks or 3 weeks ago. So Unathi and I call each other Madi. I'll explain that later. Okay, fine, you'll find it in the book. So she says to me, Mati, I need you to confirm something. Actually, I lied. This is about 2 months earlier. She says, I need you to confirm something, and it's a date. So she calls me and she says, listen, I need to confirm a little bit of a detail. And I hope I helped, because I didn't remember, but then it came to me. And she says, yeah, okay, so I'm putting final touches on my book. I'm like, book? You didn't tell me you were writing a book. She says, yeah, you'll hear all about it. 2 weeks later, she phones me, and she says, listen, I need you to come and speak. I'm launching a book. And I mean, at this point, I'm thinking, wow, okay, my girl is launching a book, all right? She says, I'm launching a book, and I would really love for you to be there. I was going to say many, many years ago, but we've already been warned about that. So I won't. I'm sitting in my little apartment. We had this wonderful revolution that had started in 1997. In fact, at this point, maybe just to give a big shout out to the big revolutionary himself, Dirk Hartford, right at the back there. When you see that guy, give that guy a hug. Don't give him a bells, please. Give him a hug. I just come back from work. It's a Friday evening, and I'm watching TV, and this show comes on. And at this stage, I'm watching, so I see Stone. I'm like, oh, I know Stone, you know. So, but then there's this young woman, vibrant, very exciting, big smile, very infectious smile. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, she sounds great, she's incredible. But I forget about it over the weekend. On Monday, there's a guy called, his name is Mr. Paul Mnisi, Sekakulile these days. But Rude Boy Paul, so I'll talk about who the people were back then. Rude Boy Paul, who's also here, comes up to me and he says, my man, have you seen this show, Castle Loud? I'm like, yeah, I've seen the show. He says, did you see how amazing this girl is? I'm like, yeah, why? Where is this going? He says, no, man, like, we gotta have her, she's gotta be part of the revolution. I'm like, Paul, just, you know? And relentlessly for the whole week, these guys are on to me. They're like, yo, you need to see that, you need to see. And I mean, at this point, I think I watched 2 more shows before I sort of responded to anything. And then another voice, fresh, says, hey, Luki, he speaks with her. Hey, Luki, hey, my man, I hear you thinking about Casa. What is this with this guys? Just chill, So I said, you know what, fine, I'll see her, right? I'll have a chat to her. I mean, I really liked her. I watched, she was really fantastic on television. And I thought, okay, why not? And we set up a meeting for Monday morning at 9 o'clock. But they had a shoot, I think, over the weekend. So she had gotten home, I think at 3 o'clock in the morning or something. And obviously goes home, she sleeps, she's in Randburg, I think, at the time. We are in Bertram's, just to give you an idea of distance. Bertram's is a suburb near, in fact, past Ellis Park, if you're driving all the way towards the east of Joburg. And our meeting's for 9 o'clock. She wakes up at 8:45, I think. And very quickly, in a panic, jumps into a shower, no time to, arrange a new closet, pulls jeans, dirty pair of All-Stars, t-shirt, jacket, jumps into a maxi cab. There was no Ubers then. And halfway in her journey, she thinks, oh my goodness, I'm going for an interview. The guy is the program director, and I don't even know what he's like. And I mean, in those days, we worked with another fellow called Randall, who always wore suits. I mean, I don't know why he did that at Y, but anyway. He was always the suave guy, but we managed to change him. I mean, eventually he was in boots and jeans. I mean, the revolution won. but the hair stayed. So halfway, now she can't turn back because she's late for the appointment and she feels she's underdressed for this appointment, but she's like, you know what, I'm going. And she gets to YFM. I get the phone call to say Unathi is here, and people are really excited at reception because they know her from television. I'm looking at the time and it's like 10:15 or 10:05 or something. I'm like, okay, it's a start. What do we do? So I asked them to lead her upstairs to where the office was, and I'm walking out to meet with her. And as she comes up the stairs, this guy stops her, and the guy's trying to talk to her, and she's like, get out of my way. I have a meeting, I'm late. I know you want to take a future thing called a selfie, but we had no selfies back then. I'm just, trying to bring it to the 21st century. And she's trying to move this guy out the way, and this guy is me. and I said to her, I'm the human that you're meeting, and she jumps up and she gives me a big hug, right? And then 2 seconds later, she steps off. And she says, oh, this is like highly inappropriate. I just met this guy. I'm here for an interview, and now I'm hugging him. And at this point, I didn't understand why, until I realized her comfort, right? So I wore a pair of jeans and dirty All-Stars. And I had a sporty as well. So she felt very comfortable that at least she was meeting someone who was not going to judge her dress sense, because I was just, pretty much the same. And for years, that's how we related to each other. We always wore, dirty pair of All-Stars. We hit it off. We hit it off really well. I won't bore you with all the details, but when we decided to give Unathi a shot, we did something crazy, which was usual at Y. We had this character, this human being who was incredibly amazing. His name was Kabzela. And Kabzela had a show on the weekend called the Jam Shack. And on Sundays, he had this really incredible, huge show, where he really spoke to people. And he spoke to people everywhere. He used to call prisoners and, have people, talk to their families over the radio. I mean, there was a point we had this long conversation about, is this appropriate for radio? I mean, why are we talking to prisoners? But the point was, we had many young people who were troubled. He had this really incredible show. The reason I tell you that part of the story is when we decided to give Unathi her first shot, we created 2 hours out of Kabzela's 4 hours. Now you need to understand how big a decision that is, where this is a huge character. This is a man who, commands the weekends. And obviously we had plans, just in terms of where Kaba was, but no one knew this at this point, so we created this 2 hours. Not only did we do that, we changed the format of the station. This was YFM. People always expected us to, be playing, very loud music all the time. But what people didn't understand was, these were very young, switched-on people who were musical, period. And we launched a show, which was a jazz show. This was like our version of, what we call the Sound Supreme these days at KFM. Actually really started with you, and that story needs to be told. And we put her on. I remember the first song she played was a George Benson track remixed by Louis Vega called You Can Do It, Baby. And now that I think about it, you've done it, my baby. And I used to program the music, on the show. So we became very close from that perspective. Fast forward to a time where now we were deciding on, doing double headers and triple headers and so forth. And then there was this fight, because everybody wanted to work with her, You never told me that. I couldn't. I didn't know what was going to happen. And everybody just wanted to work with us. No, let her come on my show, let her come on my show, and so forth. But what was incredible for me was, she did a couple of shows. She ended up doing a show in Mvulani, Rude Boy Paul. Paul Nisi, so many names, dog. Where is he? And became a household name on air. But for me, one of my proudest moments was when she came to me one day and she said, you know, I'm under pressure to get into the music game because apparently back at Rhodes, can I tell the story? No, I won't. Back at Rhodes, the dormitory would go quiet because Unathi is in the shower. And it was quiet because they were listening to her sing. So she would sing loud, and and sometimes when she cuts the water and she's singing, everybody's quiet and they're listening. And she was under pressure to perform, but she didn't know how and when to start and really what to do. And I said to her, well, let's do a few sessions, why not? And I had this place in Winchester Hills and had a little basement where we used to do sessions. And I would play on turntables and she would sing. And in fact, we had a huge show then with DJ Spinner. It was a mega show at Pyramid. And we decided, listen, we're going to put you on. And this was your first public performance. And we had Kila on the congas, and we had these sessions where we rehearsed. And I am so proud that your first ever public performance was something that we orchestrated, and we pieced like a couple of things together to really make it happen. There are so many things I can talk about. We became family. You know my boys when they were, little. I mean, she paid me a beautiful compliment. My firstborn son's name is Malik. He's 17 years old. And when I walked, she said, oh, I see Malik. And I thought, oh, okay. It means I'm a little cute. That's all right. But that's how far we go. And I think after that particular performance, she realized that her calling in music was real, and this was something that she needed to follow. But for me, it's not being on air. It's not being on stage. It's not doing idols. It's not, just all of those things that make you a complete human being. For me, it was just your warmth, your heart, your infectious smile. You've always wanted others to be better, and that's what's always was appealing for me. Every time you had something that would trouble you, I loved the fact that you trusted to come to me and talk to me about stuff. That really meant a lot to me. I am so proud of what you've done. I look forward to read this book. I want to buy 20 for people back at my office. I don't know which ones, though. I'll just leave them at reception. Just now, the 20 think they're the most favorites, but I have my favorite here. She's here somewhere. Here somewhere. And I look forward to hearing you talk about you. I look forward to like looking through and reminiscing and just going through the many years that we've enjoyed together. I think you are well on your way to become, in fact, you are probably there, one of the most important South Africans. And that is so important today. And I love you, and I wish you all the best. Congratulations.
I was going to say, something that Greg touched on is that Unathi is such a wonderful friend that there's nothing more that she loves than to sit and to spend time with her friends. I think we can all vouch for it, those of us who know her, where she literally will pull up the chair and be like, yes, tell me more. I think someone who's been a friend of hers for a really long time and who knows her exceptionally well, is the multi-talented musician, producer, actor, Unathi's musical director when she's on tour, when she's performing. He's extremely, how can I put it, critical, I think, to her and to her life. And he is the co-author of the book, I Keep Learning. So I want to welcome on stage Kabomo Vilakazi. And you're going to start off by reading an extract from the book for us.
Yes.
Your favorite?
One of my favorites.
One of your favorites, okay.
So first of all, Sanwanan, thank you so much for coming. Once in our family kitchen, the women of our family were gathered exchanging stories amidst laughter and tears, as usual. It was during one of our family's traditional ceremonies. As cultural roles dictate, different age groups of different genders would find themselves in different parts of the family property due to the different roles to be performed. The kitchen was always the best place to be. All women of all ages and hierarchy were welcome in the kitchen. I was pretty young and should have been outside playing with my peers, but I always enjoyed and listened to the wild stories of the older women in the family. Occasionally, I would be threatened with being banished when I would forget my place and command and gasp with the other ladies. So, I learned to gasp internally. I have always been forward.
I think at the start of the book, that extract you read paints such a beautiful picture. I think we're all able to see it, we're all able to visualize it happening. How do you start to sift through memories? When you sit down with someone, this is your first book that you've written.
Yes.
So how do you start to sift through the memories and say, this is what we're going to put in, this is what we're going to leave out?
I think the first thing we decided to do from the beginning was that we were not, because this is our first time writing a book, we do not know the formalities of how books should be written. So we decided that we were going to create our own rules.
Yeah.
And we wanted to create a book that didn't feel like any other book that's been written before.
Right.
So we literally wrote it based on how we felt. She told me all these stories, and because we've been friends for such a long time, I was testimony to some of those stories. So some of them I'd remember details, some of them I don't think so. And because of the nature of who we are, there were lots of fights and lots of arguments and lots of tears and lots of laughter.
That was going to be my next question, yes.
But we went through this process where she just literally just started from point zero. And just started talking and talking and talking and talking and talking and talking, and would leave, come back the next day and talk and talk. Then she would remember something and she would text it, and I would remember something and I'd text her, and she'd say, oh, I want to keep this. And I'm like, that's not interesting. I don't want to put that in. And she's like, this is not your book. But it was literally like a period of just two people just going through stories and just figuring out what works and what doesn't.
How do you help her find her voice? Because it's your first book and it's her first book. How do you help her find her voice?
I've been a writer for almost a decade, even though I haven't written a book. So I think my first role was helping her discover her voice technically.
Yeah.
She has a beautiful writing voice, which in the beginning she didn't trust. And my first job was to reassure her that her voice is important.
Yeah.
My second job was to be her friend and to say, in this era where women are being silenced, where women are being raped, where their limbs are being cut off and they're being burnt, where women are being suppressed, where women are being raped, it is important that she knows how important it is that her story and her voice be visible to some young girl at home watching the news and believing that her role is to be raped, and to know that there is another voice of a woman, a black woman, that speaks opposite to that.
You know, it is an interesting choice that Unathi would choose a man
For sure.
to co-write the book. Did you have any reservations?
No.
Why?
Because as a black man, when I walk in the streets, I'm aware of the threat that I present to women.
Yeah.
By virtue of being a black man and being in this country, I'm already a threat. And in the prologue that I wrote in the book, I said I don't take it lightly. I don't take it lightly that a woman says, here is my voice. I I nurture my kids with this voice. I merge my spirit with my ancestors with this voice. I make money with this voice. I'm trusting you with it. And the only way that she could trust me with it is because we share a bond where we've had to be there for each other when no one else had been. You know what I mean? Two weeks ago, I went through this humiliating thing on Twitter where like I was being bashed, and Unathi stopped everything and came to my house, and she didn't come to spew wisdom with me. She came and sat on the floor of my garage, because that's where I was sitting.
Right.
And we sat there for 4 hours. And I was just bawling and bawling in shame. And she just kept reassuring me that I met her. Do you know what I mean? And that is the friendship that we have. So I wasn't surprised when she said, I have this very serious process I have to go through. I don't know who to trust with it. Before she even said, I want you to do it, I already knew that we have this bond that makes me worthy of it.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible. How do you approach writing a memoir about someone who is so a part of the entertainment landscape in South Africa? So obviously it's going to involve other well-known
For sure.
people. How do you approach that to ensure that no one else is harmed, no one else is going to read the book and think, oh, I can't believe she said that?
Well, the first thing we agreed on is that we wanted to create something that we'd be proud of. I don't know if there are any tabloid writers here, but I can't imagine a tabloid writer going to sleep at night saying, I did good today. Do you know what I mean? I can't imagine them going, I contributed to this world and I can sleep at night, you know? And we didn't want to do that. We wanted to create something that was graceful, that was classy, that was honest, because truth is beautiful in any way.
Yeah.
Even if it's hard to swallow, truth is always beautiful, and truth always fights for itself. So if you tell truth gracefully, even on the person on the other end who doesn't want to hear that, if it's told with the integrity that it's intended, it's always beautiful. Yeah. And our intention was that we wanted to create something graceful and something we'll be proud of.
Intention is everything.
Yeah.
As fascinating as you are, I think it is time to call up the woman of the hour, of the day, of the month, of the year. Everyone, please give a big round of applause to Unathi Nkayi. Did you leave? She left the microphone behind. Just give us a second. We're broadcasters, ne? Okay, let me give you a second to get.
You can see I've never done this before. Hi, everybody. Thank you for coming.
In
Author today,
in
sorry.
like half an hour. In half an hour, you can do that. Thank you so much for, I think, having us all here today and for wanting to share your experience of writing this book for you.
Yeah. Thank you for doing this.
I've kind of touched on it a little bit with Kabomo, but why was it important to you to get your story out? You know, and I think coming from the perspective of being someone who is in the public eye and who very often has things written about them, but you don't often have the recourse to say, well, actually, it's this, it's not that.
Yeah.
Why was it important to you to get this out?
I think for two reasons. I'm seeing Spool. I think two reasons. I watched my parents being shamed by lies that were written about me. Thank you, baby. It's my daughter. Thank you, baby. I think two reasons, Mal. I had to watch my parents being shamed, you know, by lies being written about me. And I felt powerless. And it's what Kabomo was saying. I felt utterly, utterly powerless. And, you know, I'm a fighter, as you know, and I hate feeling powerless. And I hate feeling violated. And I hate putting shame on people that don't deserve it, you know? And my daughter was too young to understand, and my son was like, oh, I don't want to go to school, and I understood that. So it was to get that power back. But not just for me, just to say to other people, and we had a deep conversation when you were over at the house about it, but just to say to others that we're allowed to own our stories. So for me, it was just, I wanted to rectify a lot of things and bring back the dignity to my family and my family name. But more importantly, what all of you have been saying, and now with Dr. Judy, what you are and what you live, and Griza, what you were saying, I think it's time for us to know that we need to own our stories. And African tradition dictates that we're great storytellers. We're great storytellers through the drum. We're great storytellers through our music, you know. Our mothers put us to sleep through lullabies. We sing in traditional ceremonies. We're great storytellers when we hear the men of our family stand on our ancestral ground and relay the story of our ancestors. We're great storytellers in other ways, but we don't document and archive, and not just published works in television, in radio. And for me, I want to say that all our stories have to be documented, you know? The story of Asanda, who has dressed me through every body size that I've had. The story of Makhosa, which is a family legacy, you know? The mother taught them how to do beads. And then they went into designing fabric, wool. The story of Nick Bolton, who shot my cover, who's probably shot every famous person who's here today, but also for over 2 decades, who's currently in talks with Dr. Judy now, because that's a story I've been saying to him. You need to put us and make it tangible. You know, the story of, you know, Refilwe, who is a drive time host, female, on her own, YFM. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's important to put all those stories down and to say, this is who we are.
It's important to say, this is who we are, in our tongue, in our emotion, in our voices, and it's important to start archiving that. And for me, we need that.
All connected.
Yeah.
So something that you've just mentioned, which I know is it's so a part of you, and it's why you travel as much as you do, and it's why you try and experience as much as you do when you travel, in terms of it being part of our story, being storytellers from the continent. This is who we are as Africans. What is it when you travel that you get? When you hit that tarmac, wherever it is you're going, what is it that you're looking to experience?
Her heartbeat.
Yeah.
I feel her heartbeat on the soles of my feet. I feel her heartbeat in my hair. I feel her when I'm cycling around. I feel her when I taste her beer. I feel her when I drink her coffee and I come home and I share her coffee with my kids and I say, today we're going to have coffee from Tanzania. Tomorrow we're going to have coffee from Lagos. Actually, why don't we have coffee from Egypt? So it's ways to have conversations about who we are. And what I also do is I bring a piece back so that people who've been to my home, you know, you walk in and you go, oh, that's beautiful. And I go, oh, thank you. That was actually from Tunisia. And we got it, that was actually from Egypt. No, that was from Kenya. No, that was, and it's a great story. It's a great talking point for having a background as to who we are and what drives us and what gives us, you know.
I think for me in the book, that is some of the most descriptive writing that you'll find is when you guys talk about when you go to Egypt, when you go to Ghana, when you go to, you know, wherever it is that you go, the way you paint a picture is absolutely beautiful.
Thank you.
I want to change tack slightly and just talk about your discipline.
Yeah.
I think that's something that people don't know. She is relentless. When I say to you, I remember when I worked with her, every single morning she would come with this green gunk in a thing that she got up and she made at I don't know what time, but she was so committed to, I've got to eat healthy, I've got to exercise, I've got to, you know, all these things. And it applies across the board, whether you're on stage, on Idols, whether you're on radio, I think just your approach to your lifestyle, diet, etc. Where does that discipline come from?
I think it's twofold. The first is recognizing that I'm the only me that I've been given by God. I'm the only me emotionally, physically, mentally. So I speak to myself with kindness. I try to resonate kindness and be love. My mom always says, it's always about how you make people feel. Doesn't matter what you achieve in life, doesn't matter where you go or how much money you have. Danam, when you walk away from people, you must always know that you've made them feel better. It must never be the other way around.
Yeah.
And then the other one is just, I want it all. I really do, Mel. Like, I want it all. I want to be healthy. I want to be a good person. I want to be a positive spirit. I want to be someone who can give and multiply positivity.
Yeah.
So that's why I do it. You know, when I was 98 kgs and I was saying, I'm going to get my body back and I'm going to get rid of my stretch marks, and I knew I wanted it that badly that I had to do it. And that's what it is. But also I know where we come from as a people. We come from nothing, all of us. And for me, it's to pay it forward. It's understanding that both my parents didn't see their parents because of the sacrifice their parents made to have my parents go and study their tertiary education overseas. And then that's when they took my elder sister and I. So I recognize that sacrifice because I look at my kids and I'm like, I can't imagine not seeing my children for 5 years.
Right.
And that is the sacrifice my elders made for my parents. They made it for me. So who am I to be less than the best version that I can possibly be?
I think a lot of people might not understand how important your spirituality is to you because you don't harp on it.
No.
But you always say, it's in my name. It's in my name. God is with us.
Yeah.
Like as you said, who can be against us? How do you tap into that faith when you're presented with challenges?
It's easy, because I just surrender. I think because of the name that I have, it's easy. God is with us at all times. So when it's too much, I literally go, this is beyond me. Take over now. And literally that is the conversation. I say, this is beyond me. Take it. And I think that's the power of who we are as a people. My uncle, my late uncle who left us beginning of this year, named me Fundiswa Tatomkhulu, my grandfather named me Fundiswa, to be the one who's to be educated. And I took that very seriously as well, coming from our historical dispensation, knowing how apartheid limited us in terms of education, knowing that my grandfather named me, that I must be educated in some way. I take that seriously as well, and I think that's why, I guess I never thought, wow, it's hitting me now. I never thought.
That's it.
Yeah, you know, and my late uncle named me Unathi. So I understand the purpose of, or the intent behind giving a new soul a name.
Yes.
And I understand the fact that we are living testimony to the hopes and dreams and the prayers of our predecessors coming alive. And we are living testimony to that. And it's the one thing I always say to my mom and my dad.
Yeah.
And it's been a recurring theme, I think, since I matriculated. I just want to make you proud. And then they just go, you haven't done that. And I go, thanks. And then I find the
Mission
next thing.
accomplished.
Yeah, and I find the next thing. I just want to make you
Yeah.
proud. So yeah, I think that's just being a beacon of hope and paying it forward and knowing that we are the pioneers as well. Many of us are the firsts in our families.
Yeah, across the fields, across different
first
industries.
Yeah, first broadcasters,
Yeah.
first healers, first photographers, first cinematographers, first producers, first
Fashion
hairstylists,
designers.
fashion designers. You know what I mean? I mean, we have the whole Latuma and his family, my class. He's here with his sisters because that's a family legacy. Latuma and Lihle, by the way, please don't leave before my mother sees you. She wants you.
This is not the time for announcements.
Sorry.
Thanks.
But you know what I mean? It's that. It's we have families and we have a responsibility to build each other. I heard an interview saying there's no use of all of us getting 9 to 5s because when our children graduate, they're going into the 9 to 5s. What are we building? Malambule, what are we building? He's got native rhythms, so his kids take on that. With Mamvi traveling the world, taking our music across the world, and that's how we need to build as the South African families of today.
I want to move across to, as you talk about legacy and as you talk about what we leave behind, what we create for our children.
Yeah,
Your children are everything to you.
they are.
They're here this evening. Hi, guys. There's an extract from the book that says, where you talk about coming up with a mother's love song.
Yeah.
And you say, the moment I remember, which occurred in 2007, remains to me my most powerful to date. The song that emanated from that powerful moment remains, out of all the beautiful songs I've been given by God, my favorite.
Yeah.
And so they've inspired you. They drive you to achieve. They're the reason for your being,
Yeah.
right? how do you then, in releasing a memoir that exposes your weakest moments,
Yeah.
your weakest moments when
Yeah.
you're at your lowest, what do you think that teaches them about being imperfect, about mothers being fallible? Because I think a lot of us grew up where our mothers were perfect. We
Yeah.
didn't see anything go wrong. We didn't know anything went wrong until
Yeah.
perhaps years later. But as a
Yeah.
kid, what is the lesson that you're trying to teach them in that?
They live what they learn and they learn what they live. They're not going to listen to what I say and I do something differently and I expect them to listen to what I say and not learn what I'm doing. So for me, it's because of who we are as a family or how we are as a family that I could write that.
Yeah.
Because I know I can get home and say, guys, what do I need to improve on? We had this conversation like 2 or 3 weeks ago and I was like, what do I need to improve on? As a new single mom, what am I doing wrong? What would you like me to be better in?
That's big.
Huge.
That's huge.
Huge.
Huge, yes.
But I also need them to know that they are my family and I am their family. And literally I was like, what do you want me to improve on? And they were like, Mom, you need to communicate better. And I was like, okay, I'm sorry. So I wouldn't have been able to do that if we weren't that family. I tell them, when I'm tired or when I'm driven, but I also push them because I know I push myself. So it's an honesty and it's a give and take and it's reciprocated. And, I'll have moments where, because I've got a 15-year-old son, and I'm like, where's my son? There's an alien in here. And
Bring
he'll
him
be like,
back.
Mom, yeah. And he'll be like, Mom. And I'll be like, I'm sorry. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And those just honesty, and he'll come back on some, I did the best in class. And I'll be like, yeah, because that's what we do. So I embarrass him sometimes. And he'll be like, why did you do this on TV? And I'm like, did I do that? He's like, yes, Mom. So we have these conversations and, we practice dance in the house and we'll have 30 seconds. And I believe that the new family needs to be imperfect.
Yeah.
Because it places too much pressure on us. I think the black family,
It's almost to show the spectrum of who we are as human beings.
yeah.
That it's not always 100%
important.
happy. It's not always 100% perfect.
No.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can just add here.
Yes, please.
One of my favorite, and I always say it to Unathi, one of my favorite character traits that she has is her tenacity. And I have never met anyone more tenacious than Unathi.
Ah.
And for a long time, I always assumed tenacity was the ability not to fail.
But that's not it.
But through her, I've learned that it is the ability to survive falling with grace. Like Unathi will take blows that I can't imagine anyone taking. And there's an ability that she has where she takes it and she has a moment with that thing and she allows herself to learn from it. Then the next day she stands.
Yeah.
And I grew up with this image of these of adults who would not allow themselves to be vulnerable in front of their children because they saw that as a weakness. But seeing her raise her kids with this tenacity where she welcomes them seeing her fall, but there's a pride in seeing their mother rise.
Yes.
And it's something that I learned from her every day.
I think, so I was going to bring you into this next phase because it's kind of all tied together, right? Greg touched on it earlier around how you fell into a music career, in that you've always loved singing, you love music, but it almost, in the book you detail how you almost fell into it by being pulled into studio and being told, well, we want you to do the song, but it's not going to be put out, so don't worry about it, it's just a guide, and then it becomes like Song of the Year,
Yeah.
right? Which
Yeah.
is wild.
It's crazy.
Right. And in the book, on the chapter where you talk about music, you say you at a rehearsal and somebody in the band, because Kabomo decides now you guys are going to perform with a live band.
Yeah.
One of the backing singers says this to her. She says, you know, Unathi, I can teach you how to sing. Your voice is there, but you don't know how to sing. When I read that, I thought to myself, oh my God, I would have just right? So talk us through that moment, the two of you, and as you say, taking the criticism in and being able to learn from it.
First of all, I didn't want to put that in. and she
He
insisted.
edited it out.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, we're not putting this in. I'm like, we have to put it in.
And she put it in, and I remember that moment. So it was part of a conversation that people were having outside of us, right? So everywhere else except in a room where Unathi was, people were having this conversation about how Unathi should not have a music career because she can't sing. And it's something that her and I had said, should we embrace this conversation in the book? Should we be part of something, or should we pretend like it didn't exist and just speak about all the glamorous parts of our music journey? And I think because everything starts with a seed and it grows, it's always nice to say, yeah, actually, because she says this.
Yeah.
She says this, yeah, when I started, I wasn't great.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we've documented this thing through albums. We've documented this through 2 DVDs. There's a new DVD coming out. Go get it.
Tour kicks off next month. Just saying.
And there is no one in this room that can say that I haven't seen her journey, where she started, where she wasn't the best thing I'd ever heard, and where we now fill up halls in East London, in Cape Town, in Durban, and people are selling out CDs.
Yeah.
She does this without an opening act, without radio supplies. She literally puts out a tweet and says, I'm in Durban in a month, and in a week, that hall is sold out. So it is testimony of her growth, and it is testimony of a character of spirit of saying that I do acknowledge that I had to grow in this thing. It would have been nice if you had those conversations to my face.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
For me, Mel, the important thing was to, I guess it's also the spirit that I carry as a judge on Idols. And T, thankfully, you shared that spirit with me, because it can get rough sometimes. But it's recognizing potential and understanding that only God is on time with you realizing your full potential and using your energy fully in a kinetic sense. So when the backing vocalist humiliated me in front of the whole band and said this in silence, I had to recognize it, because I knew it was a conversation that I was having with myself, and that I knew that I had more to give, but I didn't know how to access it. And her saying that to me was testimony to the fact that the universe needed me to finally face it and not treat it as if it was something outside. So at that moment, I had to ask myself, do I want to be a musician? It was really that simple. Do you want to be a musician or don't you? Do you want to be a vocalist? Don't you? Do you want to be a composer? Don't you? And it was wonderful, because it was just before Babu Sipho's Tole then was like, Wena, you are a lazy singer, you. You're a lazy singer. And I was like, I'm more Babu Tole. What do you mean? I mean, like, you know, I can sing. And he's like, no, I'm going to teach you how to, he literally said, I'm going to teach you how to explode and trust your emotion and just let it go. And we had a moment, and it's in the book as well, where Babu Sipho's Tole wrote me Wetembisile, which is the song that got me Best Female. And we were in rehearsals with the band, and the same band. And then Kabomo comes to me and he goes, my friend, maybe we should just play the song in a lower key. I was like, what? Oh, so now you also sing I'm defeated. And from that song changed my life. Because and he even says today, like the way you sing that song today, every time you sing it, I'm like, yeah, trust me. I hear you telling me, we're going to sing it in a lower key. And I'm like, no, we're not. So for me, it's the importance of being honest, Mal.
Yeah.
It's Instagram for me scares me, because it's so perfect. And we're showing people the end result, which is often not even the full result.
No.
It's everything filtered,
it's
whatever.
edited,
So for me, it's important to show these moments of utter failure, collapse, humiliation, ridicule, and growth.
You know, there's so many great moments in the book, and I'd love to keep chatting about it, but I know we have promised people a Q&A. I wanted to ask you, I guess, almost like a second last question from myself.
Yes.
What do you think is the biggest misconception about you?
I think there are many.
Because you can be a very divisive
public figure.
I am
people
very
either
divisive.
love you or they hate you.
Yeah.
But what do you think people get wrong the most about you?
I don't know. There's some. I guess that I'm stronger than I am.
So do they direct all this anger and hatred and cyberbullying and the tweets and the everything at you because they think you
That
can
I'm
take
stronger
it?
than, that they think I can take it, and I take that, and it's in the book as well. I take that because I'm very good at my public identity. Very good at that. I'm very good at maintaining that, and my therapist always says, "You win and you wear your masks very well," and I say, "Yes, I'm an entertainer," because that's what we do.
Yeah.
So I think I take care of my public identity very well, but as you said, I just have a sharp tongue. I'm a Scorpio, I'm a psychologist and a communicator's daughter. My mom's going. My mom's going, I think because I was raised to speak my mind, and I think because I was raised outside of South Africa as well, and I think that's very important. As a female, I was raised that my voice is enough, and I was raised that I can articulate my thoughts and I can vocalize what I'm going through. I think that's what rubs people off the wrong way, because as women we're raised to know our place, and my place is the world.
Yes. All right.
Okay, I didn't read all of the book. I just read parts of it, and then there is where you're narrating your journey with your psychologist, and then apparently your psychologist could discern. You didn't say it in so many words, but she could discern that you are saying you'll never fall in love again. To explain, take us through that. Take us through those
Because
emotions.
for me, falling in love was wonderful. And it's given me everything that I have and this incredible family. I think I've also been very fortunate as well to have one great love in my adult life. But when I fell in love, I was...
Counts.
I know we're counting now, many years ago, 15, 16 years ago. And today I know that I have to be cognizant of who we are together. What do we believe in? Does he have children? Do I have children? How do we believe that we should unite those people? As Mal was saying, spirituality is very strong to me, but it's something I don't speak about. It should have been something I spoke about from a teenager, not even in my adult love, from childhood. Because am I dealing with someone who recognizes where we come from ancestrally, or is speaking only on a biblical sense, whereas I consider myself as a hybrid? Is that okay with that person? Is it okay with me? What languages do we speak in our home? What belief systems do we follow? Are we both disciplined? Do we hope? Is health part of our conversation? You can't fall in love if you consider those things. And I consider those things now. So instead of falling into love, I know that I'm going to grow into love. So that's what I'm doing.
Okay.
Hi, Chomi!
How?
Guys,
Hello.
sorry, before she asks the question, she is the reason why I have this book today. She's literally like, Chomi, it's in the book. She's like, Chomi, I know this is going to be a never-ending story with you. You're going to meet Dr. Judy, and the book is happening. So meet my good friend, Anele.
I didn't give you a choice. I didn't give you a choice, A and B.
You didn't.
We're all now waiting for your workout outfits that we want to buy at Mr. Price
Okay,
Spot.
it's coming.
Okay, thank
It's
you.
coming.
That's what we want. So my question, and I'm pretty sure you may have covered it in the book, I don't know, but I'm going to ask you this, is that do you not sometimes feel that every time you're getting pulled into the limelight to answer something, to speak about yourself, it's always about, relationships, emotions, and no one gets up and asks you, how do you stay on top of your game in radio for 18 years? How do you constantly be in the primetime TV shows and make it work? Because I feel like on a professional level, no one is asking you, how do you compose the songs with Kabomo? we don't know that. Although every time you answer a question, you're answering something that suits someone's curiosity about personal things. And I feel like we're forgetting that you're an absolute razor-sharp legend. And I feel like you're not writing that down.
And she calls me out all the time.
So do you not get annoyed? Like, I just want to tell you guys how I came up with content on a breakfast show on Metro for 12 years straight in the morning. And because those are skills that need to be learned and need to be passed on, Unathi. And do you not feel like you should be speaking more on that?
Thank you, my friend. She always does this to me. I do and I don't, Chamam, if I'm going to be honest with you. I do because especially when it comes to broadcasting, I feel that there are very few razor-sharp broadcasters like the three of you left. And I wish that we could have schools where you teach people 3 thoughts per link. I know, you're like, what? You know what I mean? I wish we could go back to that, 3 thoughts per link. It's not about you, it's about the listener. Fifi, you know, you're talking. But Greg Maluka, the person who grew me in my very first broadcasting job, he would tell us all the time, forget about what you've just achieved because you need to achieve the next thing. And we would always complain at why, and we're like, Metro's stealing all of our ideas. And he would be like, that's a compliment, so what's the next one? So I've never been allowed, and my parents as well, they don't allow me to bask in the sun, you know, and do the nay-nay. So I've never had the privilege of time, because I know I'm as great as my last link. I'm as great as my last collaboration. I'm as great as my last, so you've got to keep producing. And it's a compliment my dad always gives me. He says, you're just so productive. And I'm like, I have to be productive because we have to produce. So maybe it's not in storytelling our stories, but it's in doing, and then the rest will follow and learn or ask questions, and then we'll answer, Chamam.
Yeah, I think.
Can I say something quickly? I think the reason people must tell their story is because someone always has an ulterior motive. Someone always has an ulterior motive, and they'll take your story and they'll do whatever they like with it. Unless you take charge of your story, someone else will always make money off it. Someone always will go far with your story and manipulate it and go on Twitter and tell your story in the most nastiest way. The reason Unathi is writing a book, and I'm sorry to be speaking on your behalf, and the reason I tell my story, and the reason you should tell your story, is because everybody in this room needs to own their narrative. In that book, it was important for us to not tell her personal story, but also tell her professional successes, which are many, which are multifaceted. It's literature, it's books, it's radio, it's TV, but she's telling it. So it doesn't matter what anybody else says. We've got a book that's documented that says, no, that's bullshit. Here's the truth here.
Hey, my parents
Sorry. So if there's anything any young black girl should learn in this room from tonight, is that own your narrative, own your story. You make money off your story, and nobody else should.
Yeah, 100%. Thank you. All right, let's go over here.
Good evening. My name is Gogun Debele.
Hi, Gogo.
I run a girls' school. I'm not going to say the name of the school. And we've had the benefit of Unathi's genius. But actually, I have an ulterior motive to my... And this question is a question that I could have asked Anele, that I would have asked Tabi, so that I would have asked you, Dr. Judy. It's that how do we get our young girls to be? How do we build resilience? And I don't want it from a negative narrative of gender-based violence and all of those things. But how do we get our young girls to just be, and to be able to just succeed without any patches attached to their being?
Yeah.
Because I think every time we tell a story of a young girl, we tell it from a negative perspective.
Yeah.
We don't tell it from an ambitious perspective. We don't tell it from, this is what is possible for you.
Yeah.
And so the choices that you make today, are the choices that will determine whether you succeed or not. We tell it from the perspective of, you need to prevent, you need to, gender-based violence,
Yeah.
and not hope. And in fact, quite frankly, I think our solution to to teenage pregnancy is
Yeah.
ambition. It's not condoms.
It is ambition.
It's not contraceptive. It is ambition. If we drive that in young girls,
Yeah.
and I think you epitomize that. So how do we get many of yous? I'm sure they didn't even know that I know their names.
Yeah.
But how do we get many of yous for our young girls to believe?
Yeah. Oh, I've worked with the girls at Usisgugu School, and I'll respect your privacy, so I won't name who they are. Now, Sis Nomvula, thank you. For me, Usisgugu, what I do is I'm very honest with girls when I speak to them. The reason why I perform with choirs around the country is for me, is to make it tangible. So Kabomo always asks me, why is it so important to perform with this choir and this choir and this choir? And I say, because I want the kids who are musical to feel it. I want them to know what it feels like to be on stage. I want them to feel the vibration of the rhythm section even before they open their mouths. I want them to look into the souls of thousands of people and understand what their energy does sonically to another human being so that they can stay ambitious. And then the other thing I do, Sis Gugu, I think, and maybe you correct me if I'm wrong, I think we like to sugarcoat things. Whenever I speak to girls, I always tell them, I consciously closed my legs the moment I went on television. Consciously did that because I understood how powerful what is between my legs is. And it can affect you in a positive way and in a negative way. So when I started in the industry, I knew 99% of the boys wanted me on my back. I knew it. And I befriended them immediately because I knew that was where my power was. And I can tell you till today, that is why most of them respect me till today, because they don't know what I look like when I'm on my back. And I have those conversations, and I think we sugarcoat it. Then, what is it? School before boys, or dun. No, books, me, I say books before, and we sugarcoat it, and we like to act all nice about it. Me, I talk about, and I said, seriously, I looked at my son, he went into high school 2 years ago, he's in grade 9 now. I literally said to him, I'm not going to embarrass you, because I know you've got friends. I know you guys talk about these things. Can I just say one thing about the birds and the bees? And he's like, what, Mom? I said, I'm too cute to be a grandmother. And it's just like those kind of conversations, you know what I'm saying? I'm just too cute to be a grandmother. And if you want to get into that deeper, then we can. I think we excuse my French, but I think we pussyfoot around the truth. They need to know that they're good enough. They need to know that they can have anything that they want. And it's because my parents were real enough to say to me, be anything that you want. And I was like, I want to be it all. And they were like, be it all. And then I worked for it. Honesty, truth, no sugarcoating.
Okay, we're going to go over there.
Wow. Now that deserves, let the church say amen.
Thank you. Amen.
Good evening, beautiful people.
Hi.
My name is Sana
Hi, Sana.
Mabuha. Unathi, you are an incredible something.
Thank you.
And I believe that it's so beautiful to give people credit when they're still alive.
Thank you.
So that we don't make traffic at your funeral. So,
Okay.
okay, for some of you, you'll get it on your way home. It's fine.
I've got you.
So, I'm writing a memoir myself. Done with the
Congratulations.
Can we
manuscript,
keep it down? Yes.
first draft.
Congratulations.
I want to find out, because you know when you write about your personal journey, sometimes you find yourself writing things that will make you sob, will make you cry, and you're like, should I include this in my book? People are gonna read about it. So I want to find out from you, did you have to not include some parts in your book where you wanted to protect some people, not to shame them? You know, maybe people who have hurt you, people who have caused you pain and stuff, not to embarrass them in a way. Do you have that? Do you have people that you have protected that you didn't write about in your book? Or it's just tell it all, you just told it all?
I think intent is everything. And at the beginning of the book, the intent wanted it to be a memoir that changes people's lives and has a positive impact in society. being a child of my mom and my dad and the careers they've chosen, they're essentially teachers in nature. They're essentially healers in nature. I couldn't not be a representation of who I am away from the public eye. So for me, my intent, I had to ask, why write a book? And it wasn't because we are all writing books. For me, it was because so many of you stopped me in the mall. Unathi, how did you? Unathi, how did you? Literally, a lot of my conversations are, how did you? How did you? How do you maintain natural hair? How did you lose the weight? How do you survive? You know, yabo? So the intent was, okay, people want to learn. So what am I learning? What have I learned? Because when you shame people and you tell all and you humiliate people, essentially what you're admitting is that you haven't learned anything and you're still living a blame game. So for me, this book is about accountability in my life and what I've gone through, and not about other people. Other people have been a part of my life, but it's about my life and what I've learned. So the people that I mention in the book are part of the stories that I've gone through, but my stories. So it's not about shaming anyone, because when I shame someone else, I'm shaming myself 3 times, because there's one pointing to that person that I'm shaming, but the other 3 are pointing back at me, which means I haven't learned anything, and I can't give positivity to the world. So I was very deliberate in the title. And we tried to write this book, Jamame, for years, and then it's like, when I put the woman in there, a better you. And I couldn't write under that title, a better you, a better you. Because who am I? You understand? I'm still a process. I'm still a process growing. And literally one day we were having a conversation with Kabomo, and I'm like, hey, my friend, I'm learning, man. And then I was like, that's the book title. And then he was like, grammatically, no. He was like, grammatically, no. That's I'm learning is not going to be your title. So we played around this. And I keep learning. Even my mom was like, but no, maybe it could be I keep on learning. I'm like, well, both are correct, because, you know, she's a linguistics by profession, linguistic practitioner by profession. So she's like, no, maybe you could say I keep on learning. I was like, Mama, they're both right. I just think I keep learning is more catchy. She's like, okay, no, but grammatically it is correct. So even Mama Judy trusts me at the end. She's like, there was one grammar mistake. Stop the printers. So intent is everything. So that's why I keep learning, because I really do. I really, really do, in all my imperfections.
Last time I met you was at the Face of C Squared event. I was with my ex. It's a bit awkward. But it's okay, it's okay. I love you so much.
Thank you.
I love your energy. Amazing broadcasters that I like here, Anele included, love her. Wish she could go back to, daily television, because she was so great. My name is Ukanya Mkoto, and I am a mathematical statistician, and I have my own organization called the Young Catalyst. We focus on the youth. And my question is for you. I'm not sure if you've answered it, but your title is I Keep Learning. So what has been your greatest lesson? I have another question if you have answered.
Yeah? Why? We can let you have one question.
I guess my biggest lesson is, I know I want to be a positive force, right? And this took me a long time. Actually, this is the greatest lesson. I know I want to be a positive force, and I know I want to be love. And it took me a long time to know that I need to give myself love to be that love. So for a lot of time, I gave, and I was empty, and I couldn't survive, and I was always tired, and I had bags down to my chin, and And when I realized that to be a better lover, a better energy giver, a better happiness, better joy, more vibrant, I need to give that to myself. So these trips that Mel talks about, like I go, I disappear for 2-3 days, then I just lie on the beach. That kind of stuff. Or go dancing until 7 in the morning with my girlfriends. That's what I've learned that I need to do for me to be that, to fulfill the purpose that I know I'm here to be. I don't know if that answers.
Great.
Dumelang bagolo.
Hi, gorgeous.
Unathi, happy birthday.
Thank you.
Blessings and blessings for you.
Thank
We
you.
are also blessed to have you in our lives.
Thank you.
We are blessed. We thank you for sharing your life. We thank you for being so selfless.
Thank you.
My question is, for many years, you spent your birthday not celebrating your birthday because you lost your cousin. How does it feel celebrating it now?
Deep breath.
Glass of water.
It feels great. And my daughter was saying it, because last year I was in Mars and I went with my big sister and my younger sister and cousins and all of that, and there were like 16 girlfriends. So last year was the first time I actually celebrated my birthday, and I was 40. And my daughter, as soon as I came back, she said, "Mommy, we're spending your next birthday with you next year." And I realized that I'm giving them issues over birthdays because of my issue. And I know that their father has issues with his birthday as well. And, you know, it's intimate conversations we've had. And I realized that we're passing on our issues to our kids, and that's wrong. And it's so weird because this morning I thought about her for the first time and I didn't cry. And she was my favorite cousin. And I thought about her mom, and I thought about her dad, and I thought about my parents. And it's so weird because today I vowed never not to celebrate my birthday again because I realized how selfish I've been in my own psychological nonsense. So it feels great. It feels great. And, you know, everybody whose phone I answered, everybody said, "My gosh, you answered the phone. We thought you wouldn't answer," because everybody knows my issues around my birthday. So thank you for asking. It feels wonderful.
Very good. Well, on that note, we were going to keep it, but yes. Here we go.
Thank you, baby.
That is too cute.
Thank you. Is it heavy, Dr.
Let's put it here. Let's put it here on the table.
First and foremost, a big happy birthday to you. I wish you many beautiful years ahead. What a beautiful launch tonight. We're super proud of you. And more than anything, it's taking your power back and telling your story with your own voice. Nothing beats that. And onwards and upwards to building your legacy. Super proud of you. Love you lots. I'm about to get my copy right now and cannot wait to read your story and just lose myself in your wisdom. So yeah, a big congratulations to Unathi. Much love from me. Mwah.
I'm so excited to have been part of tonight. I was so honored that Unathi asked me to MC the launch of her book, I Keep Learning, by Spiso Publishers. It was so special, I can't tell you. Unathi is one of my favorite people. She's genuine, she's consistent, she's loyal, she's passionate about the things that she loves. And it was a beautiful night with beautiful people talking about things that really matter. And I think important conversations that need to be had across the board as young women of color. And I just want to say, the Unster, you're my favorite. I love you to the moon and back. And I wish you nothing but success in this lifetime and beyond.
Hi, just Unathi, I would like to say on behalf of the family, happy birthday. 6th of November is that most important day for you, is the day you first saw the sun. But we are much honored to be here at the launch of your book, which is a very important title, I Keep Learning. You will learn, my dear, up until you die, as we do as your parents. We are approaching our 70s now, and we're still learning. But for us, it's a wonderful thing because we are learning from you. Your experiences are not cast in stone. It's good to learn all the time and also to impart your learning to others. You share your learnings with your children. You share your learnings with the nation. With your God-given talent that you are behind the mic, you said as a child you wanted to study to be a reporter. You wanted journalism. In journalism, I know people tell their stories. Journalism is very powerful, it's very potent, it teaches, in my view, others as well. It reflects the society to itself. We will wish you a long and wonderful, wonderful time in all that you do. You know, we believe in God. Hence, you were given the name Unathi. God is with us. We know and we pray all the time that God will be with you. And as God is with you, God is with us because we keep on learning from you. With those few words, we say good luck and many, many more years to come. We love you so much. Thank you.
Firstly, Chomama, I want to say happy birthday, and then I want to congratulate you on what you have achieved today. And I want to thank you for sharing your life with us, a piece of your life. I haven't read this yet because you didn't give us a chance. So we can't give you a review on anything just yet, except for what we've heard you say on radio. But I read, so I heard some of your snippets, and I can't wait to read this. I'm sure it's going to be as warm and as beautiful as you are. Congratulations again on this. This is amazing. This is a big step, and you're showing our African children that they can do anything they want to. Congratulations and happy birthday, my friend.
And I'm not going to read it, but I'm excited.
Why aren't you going to read it?
Because I'm not really a book person. Sometimes she makes jokes that don't make sense, then she laughs, and then it's funny. Love you, Mommy. Happy birthday. You're the best mom I could ever imagine. And I'm surprised that you're 41. Love you. Bye.
Happy birthday. 41 years around the sun. It has been long, it has been short at the same breath. It has been hard and it has been easy. I am really honored to know you. I'm really honored to have you as my sibling. You are loving, you are worthy of love, you are success, you are worthy of success, you are strong, you are beautiful, and you are kind. I pray that you remain that way. I pray that you're always kind to everyone around you. Not just everyone around you, but always to yourself. I love you very much. Yeah, happy birthday.
So, first of all, happy birthday. Thank you so much for bringing your very inspirational story to us. It's important to tell our stories in the most authentic way that we can, and I think you've captured that. Thank you to Sfiso Publishers. I think we really owe them a debt of gratitude for bringing your story to the fore, and we look forward to more of these stories being told. Because we need them. We need our children to hear them. We need the nation to hear them. And the turnout was so amazing because people love you. And because they love you, they will read your story and hopefully encourage and inspire more people to tell their stories. So thank you very much. And on behalf of the South African Booksellers Association, we appreciate the work that you've done. Keep on doing it. And we look forward to learning more from you as you keep learning.